Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel, Beadly Speaking Jewelry. This is Davon here. I'm so excited that you've joined us for another episode. I'm sitting here with Davon, our Lupus warrior, and she's here to share her story with us. And I'm really excited to learn about her journey because we have not talked about it. So everything that you're going to be hearing, I'm going to be hearing for the first time too. So tell us how you were diagnosed and what symptoms you had.
July of 2012, I got off a plane, and about a week later, I was unable to sit down. I was unable to walk.
Oh, wow.
And it happened on a Sunday. I was just ready to get up from church, and I said, I can't walk. So she helped me to go to the emergency room, and then I went, and they didn't diagnose me then. It was just they kept me for 10 days. They didn't understand what was going on. So my diagnosis then was myositis, which was inflammation of the muscles. So they didn't have a diagnosis at that time. It's through from 2012 up until 2016 when I was officially diagnosed through a kidney biopsy.
Wait a minute. So from 2012 to 2016, they didn't have a diagnosis. You weren't on any medication, but you were still in pain?
No, I was on, it was considered myositis.
Okay.
And then they put me on prednisone.
Okay.
And from then I had one rheumatologist. She retired. Then I went to a new one, and his diagnosis was autoimmune disorder. So it went from myositis to polymyositis to autoimmune disorder. So I just was diagnosed 2016, December 26, 2016, with the kidney biopsy because I had like an abnormal urine, and they wanted to know why I had so much protein in my urine, and then that's when we moved forward to see the nephrologist.
Right.
So
I remember going through that process of having the biopsy and having high protein level and then checking the creatinine level and it's like, oh, your creatinine is like 2.0 and 2.1 and that's really high, and I'm like, what does all this mean? So when you got all that information, what was going through your mind? Like, how were you processing all this?
Well, for one, I was like, okay, who is this hereditary, first of all? So I was like, who in the family, has just the beginning? Because I was just going by the myositis, and I'm just trying to figure out, I had like the muscle test where they check the muscles with like the, it's like electro, I'm trying to think, when they feel the vibration of the muscles. I can't think of the actual
test.
They have
a test for that? You teaching me something.
Yeah, so I had that test. It was not comfortable at all. But that was my first thing, was who in the family has, these symptoms or have had this illness.
Right.
So through my mind, I just, I didn't really think of anything until I was, it was no closure, basically. So it was just up in air. I didn't really know what to expect.
Right.
Because I didn't really have a diagnosis to treat it. So you really can't treat something that you really don't know too much about.
Oh, right.
So I think that was more my challenge. Worrying. I started to worry because I just didn't know what I was dealing with.
And I think that's probably normal. I mean, you're hit with something, you got physical challenges, and then they give you all this information without giving you enough information.
Yes.
So, which is pretty much what a lot of us go through. And then to get multiple diagnoses.
Yes.
Now what? Did you have anybody to support you through the process?
Yes, I still do. I have my mom. My mom and my sister 110%.
Good.
They always support me. They always worry about me eating, making sure I go to my appointments, because yes, I have like 8 specialists that I see. That's a whole different story. It's overwhelming just keeping up with the appointments and trying to still work full time. So that's a challenge. But I also have support. I call him my gent man, which is my boyfriend, but he's very supportive. He was there, gent man, yeah, like the gentleman, gent man. And he was just there. He was there to actually carry me. Some days I really couldn't get out the bed sometimes. And he was just, they are very supportive.
That's good. So how are you today? Like what symptoms do you have like day to day?
I deal with fatigue. I forget. Okay, it's the same for me. I forget a lot. I noticed. I did some research. I don't know if they call it. They call it the lupus fog. But I struggle with that, and I think that's a challenge for me because I try to remember everything, and I forget. Like it's just simple. I mean, appointments.
Put anything in your phone,
I put it in my phone, and then it's still like okay. Something I forgot, either I don't know, anything. I struggle with that. Keys, I put it up on the door. I try to, try to find something that I have a routine. I try to get a routine.
I was gonna ask you about that. If having a routine helps, especially working full time.
Yes, I have to have a routine. I have to have time management. I'm thankful for the FMLA because that helps me with my appointments. I can kind of flex my time at my job so that I can go to my appointments. I go to PT, I see the specialist, 3 specialists a month.
Oh, child.
Yeah, so it's a lot. Sometimes it's a lot. Yes.
So I know I forgot to mention this. We met at church.
Yes. Yes.
You know how at church where they say go around and give everybody a hug and meet and greet. Mm-hmm. So that's how we met. Yes. Just say hello. And I don't remember how the conversation got started, but
I seen your purple.
Oh, I had on a purple shirt.
Yes, it was something related to lupus. I was like, are you going for the walk or and things like that. So that's how we linked up. It was the purple.
That's what it was. Because I was like, how did we meet at church talking about lupus? That's what it was. And I told her about the channel. Which leads me to my next point. How has having lupus strengthened your faith or made you have a lack of? Because I know some people, they pretty much was like, forget this. But I know I cussed more when I was first diagnosed.
I struggle with, I try to do some type of affirmation or inspiration in the morning. I try to do a daily reading because it's a challenge. My mind, I'm not going to say it's been easy because I take so many pills and sometimes I become frustrated and overwhelmed just for that. And some days I'll be like, okay, Lord, if, I'm taking all these pills, it's like, what am I taking all these pills for?
This
so
is
I
real.
think that's more of the frustration. I deal with, should I say, I'm not always, they say we don't look like what we go through, but I say it all the time. Even though I don't be feeling well, I still say I'm feeling well. So that's when my support system come in from my sister, and she's like, are you really feeling well today? It's like she can pick up some things, over the phone. Just
sometimes you gotta speak what you really going through and go through it. Yeah. Because I find that sometimes when we say, "Oh, I'm doing well," just for the sake of saying that, it's good to speak positivity. However, sometimes when we mask what we're feeling, actually hurts us even more. Yeah. So it's cool to have that positive vibe going out, but sometimes that could backfire because then we're in denial about what we're experiencing and it lasts longer than it really needs to. I don't know if that's the same way with you, but I feel like when I mask it, it just extend that period. It could have been like, and then it's like 2-3 days of,
and then I hoard my feelings, so
that's what I
hold them until I explode. I'm like a time bomb, and then I'm crying. I'm just having an episode. And then I call my sister. I don't want to take this medication. I don't want to do this until I'm back at that, stage. And she's like, well, you guys, they say you're supposed to take it, and then, so.
And that's part of where I was going with the whole faith question, because I'm honest with people. Like, I believe in God, I trust God.
Yes.
But in the beginning, I was frustrated. I was mad at God. I was like, why you give me this? Didn't I have enough to deal with before this? Why this? But now I understand that everybody has their own walk. And that was my faith walk to strengthen me. So yeah, I got bad days. Some days I'm like, I don't feel like it. Like, it's too much. But then some days, like you say, you talk yourself into that positive realm and you work through it. It's not like, oh my gosh, why me? It's like, I'm a soldier, I got this. Warrior, pick up your shield, pick up your sword, let's go. We got this battle to fight and we good. But every day is not like that.
And I'm learning that, because I find myself even multitasking. I think I'm Superwoman. So I have to realize that I'm not always in Superwoman mode.
Right.
I'm gonna have some days that it's just not gonna be a good day. But sometimes I think my struggle is when I feel like I don't have control. But that's when your faith comes in, where you have to acknowledge that God has everything in control, even out of your control. You know, something we just try to fix it, and some things are just not meant for us to fix. We're not going to fix them. So
we're always trying to fix
that.
everything. And with lupus, I think that's, my therapist told me that I'm a control freak. I try to fix and control everything, and that if nothing else, lupus has taught me that I can't control that.
Yes.
So I can control everything else, but when I'm having flare-ups, that's something that I don't have control over. It breaks me down to my knees, and that's when I have to humble myself and trust God and say, okay, this is where I have to rely on my source. And I think that's the part that's really attracting me to the community that I'm in now, where people like you, it's like, we have the same mindset where it's like, no, this ain't you. You gotta go there. And that kind of mindset is very helpful in your healing, because you know that you can't fix that by yourself. And I want to encourage anybody else that's going through it. It's like, sitting and wallowing in your pain is not going to help you. I've tried it. She's tried it. It doesn't work. You got to find somebody else outside of yourself. Whatever God you believe in, you got to find that and, build that relationship. That way you can, find that strength, that sense of hope again. That will help you. So let's switch gears. What type of I want to say workout or movement do you get involved in? I know in the beginning I did water aerobics and yoga.
I do physical therapy twice a week, and I do aquatic therapy.
Oh, so you do that? Oh,
I do, well, should I say, I'm in the water on Wednesdays and I'm on land on Fridays. That's what they say.
I like how you put it.
Yeah, so I do that. I've been doing that. Well, they said I was at like 20 visits, so I've been doing it since July. Okay. I was doing fit camp at Furley Elementary, but I noticed when I go, I'm sore for like 2 days afterwards.
Probably too much.
I was trying to exercise to help with managing stress. But it was too much, so I stopped doing that, and that's when I started the water.
The water is amazing. That's when I saw the most results for my joints. And I want to get back in the water, but it's getting cold. We're in Baltimore, and winter showed up like bam. They say it's fall, but to me it's winter, because when my fingers start to turn purple.
Yes, absolutely. They were freezing today at work. I mean, really cold.
I brought out the socks and the boots, and I'm like ready for all that. Yeah, so when that happens, I'm like, so to go from work to the pool and then come back outside in the cold, I'm like, I don't know about that. So yeah, the jury's still out on that. But yeah, the water is actually really great. I saw a lot of results from that. And in addition to me taking my medicine and doing holistic things too, so it's not just one thing. And I always tell people it's not one thing that works. It's a combination of things. So you have to try and see what works for you. We might find one or two things that we have in common that works, but It's
Everyone is
trial and
different.
error.
Yeah, because I do a variety too. I know I have some natural things. Someone had put me onto like the black seed oil, so
Mm-hmm.
I do the black seed oil in combination. You know,
You do the
with-
liquid?
Yes, the
Oh,
liquid.
God bless
It's
you.
nasty. It's so nasty, but really anything that's nasty seems like that's what's good for you.
You see my face.
So
I did the
it's
pills.
very
I
yeah.
had to do the pills. I
Yeah.
couldn't do the liquid.
So that's the challenge.
You a
Definitely, I have
soldier.
to. Yes. So I've been taking that in the morning, and that's been helpful.
Okay.
I've seen some improvement with like the joints.
I've heard-
Along with the aquatic therapy, because I
Okay.
think the aquatic therapy, the water helps take some of the pressure off. Like
It's
when you're
amazing
doing
for your knees.
yeah, for the squats, it's kind of you have the
Yeah.
water that can make you a little float as opposed to just being on this hard ground. So
It makes me feel like Superwoman.
woman, yeah. So yes, aquatic therapy is good. It's very good.
Yeah. So, what other ways has lupus changed your life? Is there anything that I always say that had maybe taken away from you or added to your life?
Well, I was diagnosed with a discoid lupus, so at this point I don't really have any hair, so I kind of started over. I think that the challenge is a difference when you're forced to cut your hair and when you have a choice.
Yeah.
So I think I'm still dealing with being forced, because I had to start over from scratch because I didn't have any hair. It made it thin out so bad.
That's what I was gonna ask you. Did it thin
Totally.
out or
No,
did
I
it
had
come out in
scarring.
patches?
I had scarring, so it's not going to come back. It's alopecia. Yeah, it's not. They said it's scarring. Only way it's going to come back is divine healing for it to come back naturally.
Wow, because I was
So I
going to
don't have
suggest
any
somebody
hair.
that I met yesterday at a fashion show, and she had all these products that can bring hair back. And
I can try it. I've tried so
Yeah.
many. You can give me her.
And I told her, I was like, it's perfect that I met you here at the show, and I know so many of my lupus warriors who have lost their hair, and she has a beauty supply store.
Okay.
So I'll connect you, but I just find that a lot of us have the same challenge. Like I tell people, like in the beginning, I had locks, long locks, and my family used to joke and call me Goldilocks because they were honey blonde.
Oh, pretty. You were beautiful.
And the back fell out, so I shaved the back, and the rest was long, so nobody really knew the back was gone. So I didn't feel any kind of way. And then the front started breaking, and I was like, still trying to start new locks. I was like, ooh, then those were falling out. And then it was right when Busta Rhymes still had locks. So
okay.
he would like shape his up, and I was like, I can't try that because I'm a girl. That ain't gonna look right. So one night I just cut them out one by one because it was going back and back, and I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen. So I kind of understand what you're saying. It's different when you choose to cut your hair versus because I was being forced at that point. I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I can't have my locks just fall out while I'm in these streets,
Yes.
So I just cut them out. And then when I tried to grow my hair back, all around here wouldn't grow back.
Okay.
So it was so thin, it was like patches. So I was scared that it would never grow back, and then I just kept trying different things. And
yeah, still I've tried like the rosemary, and they said that helps with stimulating. My sister sent me some expensive stuff from Texas that didn't work.
Man.
So like people were making like homemade things for me, and it wasn't.
We always try the homemade stuff.
Yes.
That's what my mom would give me stuff and mix up stuff, olive oil.
Olive oil
and coconut oil, and castor oil, and all the oils. So I mean, the jury's still out on it. I don't know which one worked. I can't give anybody specifics. And then she used comeback hair, and it's a whole bunch of stuff, but I don't want you to give up at the same time.
No, I'm not. I'm still trying. I just keep it oil, like moisturized.
Moisturize, yeah.
Yeah,
because I know how devastating that process
is.
was, and I was teaching, and a little boy called me bald headed. I told you I wanted to yank him up. I was doing an after school program when I told his dad was like, "You said that," and that's all he said to his son. And I looked at him and his son. I was like, and after that school year was over. I was like, I'm done. I was like, I'm not doing after school no more because I don't want to yank nobody's kid up.
Yes.
That's a very sensitive topic. But
yes.
I mean, of course, they didn't know what was going on with me, and I knew. So I felt really, that was a touchy subject for me. So what has lupus really taught you? Because you've been going through this since 2012. So what's that?
Being
6 years?
Patience. Just learning. I'm not as, should I say, impulsive. I used to be like straight to it. Like when someone says something, I will jump at a person. I'm just very patient, and I'm humble now. Like because I feel like it's out of my control. So I feel that if the more humble, the less stressful I am. So
that's an amazing lesson.
Yeah. So I try to be humble.
Yeah, I didn't quite learn patience that way.
Yeah.
God bless you. Maybe that's the part that I'm working on now. Because now I'm a little calmer than before.
I think with the patience, it was just after a while, I just had to be patient of finding what it was. Exactly, because 6 years is a long time. So after a while, it was just like, okay, I just need to be patient now. I can't be anxious anymore, because I don't want to bring any other issues, because that's what it seemed like was happening. Other things were coming up. You take medication for one thing, it was harming something, doing something else. So I just was trying to be patient and humble.
And I forgot to mention this. I know you brought up the kidney biopsy. Did they mention like what degree of kidney disease it was, or?
I'm a class 1 and 5, so I have lupus nephritis with a class 1 and 5. So the classes, I think, I'm not certain, are the levels of lupus, because there's different levels of lupus.
So did they say what stage of the kidney disease? Because there's 5 stages of kidney disease. So that's the 1?
1 and 5.
What's 1 and 5?
It's classes. You have class 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I think I'm 1 and 5.
Because they only told me stage 3.
So stage 3 might be class. They call it classes stage 3. So I'm 1 and 5. So I'm like a unique case because my specialist, she just was trying to figure out it's active in my kidneys, but it's not affecting the kidneys. It's just the
Same
protein.
thing.
Yeah. So it's like.
Were they able to get the protein level down?
Oh, it's
not even
now.
tracing. Yeah.
Awesome now.
Because I was diagnosed with lupus 5 years ago, and it was like a year later, not even a year later, like a few months later. So I was diagnosed October 18th, 2013. And then by, I want to say May of 2014, that's when they officially diagnosed the kidney stuff. And I think that's when they were like, they botched the first one. I felt the whole process.
You had 2 as well. I had 2 first time, so they could compare.
They didn't get enough samples, so that's why they had to do a second one. And the second one, they still didn't get enough samples, and they want to do a third. And I was that's gonna be a no. You're gonna use what you got and figure it out. So good thing I said no. They probably would have did it again. But, that's why I was wondering when you said classes. I was like, maybe because I didn't do it again, they couldn't figure out.
Stages. It's probably still the same. But I know my diagnosis, when I see it on paper, it says class 1 and 5.
Okay.
So
and different doctors, I think they link stuff differently, so it's probably the same. I just know, I thank God that I don't need the dialysis.
Oh yes, I know that was something that was brought up. She said if I would have probably waited a little bit longer, I would have had to do a dialysis. So that's a blessing.
I remember him saying I was right in the middle of the stages. Like, had I waited any longer, I would have tipped the other way and needed it. So so that's a blessing. Be able to control that, and I don't have any protein. It's been about a year or 2 since, that's why I asked about that. So it's good to be able to control it and manage the creatinine level. And I'm determined to bring mine back the other way. They say it can't be reversed.
What can be reversed?
The creatinine level. Because between 0 and 1.0, that's normal. And I think last time mine was like 1.7. And I mean, in the beginning it was 2.1, so I'm like, I feel like I'm going backwards. So
yeah.
that's a good thing, and I feel like I'm reversing it.
I'm like
That's
0.9 right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where
That's amazing. I would love to.
Yeah,
be
I just went.
0.9.
Last couple Fridays ago.
And I go one day this week.
Mm-hmm.
I'll need to check my appointment. But that's one of the things that I think a lot of people don't know who aren't familiar with lupus or kidney disease, like what they're checking for. So when you hear us talk about creatinine level, that's how they monitor the kidneys, the blood test that they do. That's how they're checking to see how the kidneys are performing. And, the goal is to stay between 0 and 1.0. As you hear me say, I was 1.7, so I'm way off the chart at this point. I'm trying to slide back the other way. I think the lowest I got was 1.5 back in February of 2017. So
what are you using to monitor that? Are you just doing natural, or are you taking?
I'm on blood pressure medicine.
Okay.
And certain foods that I eat help me to come back down. Okay. But it's also kind of impossible to eat that diet when you don't have the right amount of money.
That's true.
So let's be realistic.
Yes.
It does cost. So, it comes with pressure on that end.
You're right.
But one of the things that I want to talk about before we end is just how amazing it is for you you don't wear your sickness, and most people who have lupus don't. You carry it in a way that, like you said, having that positive attitude. What would you do to encourage somebody that's going through waiting for a diagnosis or is newly diagnosed right now? What would you say to that person or those people who may need a word of encouragement or uplifting?
I would just say, you're not alone. We're in this together. I mean, if you don't have a support system, I would encourage you to link with a group. I know they have some groups outside of this one on Facebook as well. They have like a lupus awareness support group. I know I actually was doing a support group here at the church over near Montgomery. I don't know, I can't think of the name.
Oh, here in Baltimore.
Yes, we
I
have
think it's Mount Lebanon.
Yes, but I know they discontinued for right now. But that was very helpful. Just listening to other people, and you're able to bring your family just so they can understand, because sometimes even the challenge for me, they really don't understand that I forget things or that I'm struggling with certain things. And you try to not have them worried as well, and tell them everything. So just having a support system, I encourage you to definitely, that's number one, and self-care. Number two.
Yeah, like literally, I took a nap in a car today for lunch.
Self-care. Because if not, your body will tell you and will shut down on you either way. Just being compliant with your physician appointments, if that's something that you are, you would like to do, however, just being compliant with whatever you choose, even if it's medication, non-medication, however, and just being consistent and following through.
That follow through is a must. Sticking with those appointments and making sure that you do what the doctors say to the best of your ability. And I think that's one of the things that has helped me to stay on track and helped her to stay on track, is just follow through. So I thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story and just helping other people out there who are going through it. We want to wrap it up, but before we go, I just want to say thank you all so much for subscribing and sharing the videos that we have. Please do the same thing for this one. Share it, because you never know how it can help somebody brighten their day, or educate somebody who just know lupus as, oh, that's that thing when people are in pain. But this could educate them further on what people actually go through. Everybody's story is different. So If it's anything that you would like to share with us, drop a comment below. If you want to join the conversation, if you would like to join us and share your story, you can email me at beadlyspeaking@gmail.com, and I would love for you to join us. Until next time, I'm Dion, and this is Davon. Take care of yourself.